Ignite. To catch fire or cause to catch fire. It is still a mystery as to how the gas leak ignited and burned down the apartment. Urban. Connected with a town or city. Urban areas usually have high crime rates. Frank. Honest, and direct in what you say. To be frank with you, she did that just so she could avoid you. Novel. New and original, not like anything seen before. The poem earned an award for its novel style and concept. Alleviate. To make suffering, or a problem less severe. Practicing yoga on a regular basis can help alleviate muscle pain. Hostile. Aggressive or unfriendly and ready to argue or fight. We moved last week because we couldn't bear living in such a hostile neighborhood. Abolish. To officially end a law, a system, or an institution. The death penalty should be abolished as it violates the human right to live. Allocate. Distribute resources or duties for a particular purpose. We must allocate our time for work and leisure activities wisely. Picturesque. To describe a place as very pretty or charming, like a painted picture. The picturesque village is a tourist attraction. Lucrative. Making a large amount of money or profit. John made a lucrative income through social media management. Discord. Disagreement between people or organizations. Negotiations between rich and poor nations are a source of discord. Gist. Gist of something, the main or general meaning of content. I missed the class, so can you give me the gist of the lesson? Frugal. Trying not to spend or waste money. I need to be frugal with my spending since I have a low salary. Altercation. A noisy argument or disagreement, especially in public. Two customers were having an altercation at the shop. Paramount. More important than anything else. The safety of the children is our paramount concern. Riveting. So interesting or exciting that it holds your attention completely. The audience was so interested by her riveting speech about her life story. Succulent. Fruit, vegetables, or meat containing a lot of juice and tasting good. My grandmother brought us a basket filled with succulent peaches. Curb. To control or limit something, especially something bad. He needs to learn to curb his temper. Frantic. Done quickly and with a lot of activity, in a way that is not very well organized. I became more frantic as I tried to finish my homework before the 5 p.m. deadline. Denote. To be a sign of something. His frequent urination denotes that he may be diabetic. Advocate. To support or recommend something publicly. Many protesters strongly advocate for a change in government policy. Demonstrate. To show something clearly by giving proof or evidence. New research demonstrates that age-related memory loss is not inevitable. Reconcile. To find a way of dealing with two or more ideas that seem to be opposed to each other. It was hard to reconcile his busy career with spending time with his family. Philanthropic. To help the poor and those in need, especially by giving money. The organization provides philanthropic support for those who suffer from disease. Detest. To hate somebody or something very much. I detest working on the weekend. Hasten. To say or do something without delay. As our teacher began her lecture, I hastened to take down notes. Cherish. To love somebody or something very much and want to protect them or it. Parents should always cherish their children and not neglect them. Potent. Having a strong effect on your body or mind. Taking a walk in nature is a potent stress reliever. Affluent. Having a lot of money and a good standard of living. Affluent consumers have a taste for luxury brands. Adverse. Negative and unpleasant, not likely to produce a good result. The flight was cancelled due to adverse weather conditions. Attain. To succeed in getting something, usually after a lot of effort. He attained his goals through great time management and hard work. Admonish. To tell someone firmly that you do not approve of something that they have done. The teacher admonished the student for being late for class. Ambivalent. Having or showing both positive and negative feelings about somebody or something. I was quite ambivalent about the president's speech. Accentuate. To emphasize something or make it easier to notice. Her short hair accentuates her round face. Abrasive. Rude and unkind, acting in a way that may hurt other people's feelings. Throughout his career she was known for her abrasive manner. Abstain. To avoid something because it is bad for your health. I abstain from drinking alcohol. Clandestine. Done secretly or kept secret. The government had a clandestine sale of weapons to a rogue state. Analysis. The detailed study or examination of something in order to understand more about it. An analysis of the data demonstrates that the vaccine is working. Abrupt. Sudden and unexpected, often in an unpleasant way. His political career came to an abrupt end due to a fatal accident. Adhere. To behave according to a particular law, rule, or set of instructions. The citizens adhere to the strict curfew. Appropriate. To take something, or somebody's ideas, for your own use and without permission. An amateur musician sued a famous singer for appropriating his music. Aloof. Not friendly or interested in other people. She is a cold and aloof woman who likes to be alone. Apprehend. To catch somebody and arrest them. The thief was apprehended after he stole some jewelry. Apprehensive. worried or frightened that something very bad may happen. The town citizens were apprehensive about the oncoming storm. Assimilate. To completely become a part of a country or community. Immigrants usually assimilate into the new culture and become contributing citizens. Aspect. One part of a situation, problem, or idea. The pandemic has made a huge impact on every aspect of our lives. Adept. Great at doing something that is quite difficult. Being skillful. My classmate is adept at solving math problems. Afflict. To affect somebody or something in a bad, unpleasant, or harmful way. My aunt was afflicted with chronic pain ever since she had an accident as a child. Abysmal. Extremely bad, a very low standard. He was fired from his new job because of his abysmal work performance. Acclimatize. To get used to a new place, situation, or climate. It took me a few months to acclimatize to the new work environment. Acclaim. To praise someone or something publicly. His artwork was acclaimed as an amazing masterpiece. Abort. To end something before it has been completed, especially because it is likely to fail. The rocket launch was aborted due to some technical concerns. Attribute. To say or believe that something is the result of a particular thing. He attributes his success to hard work. Amiable. Friendly and easy to like. His co-workers liked him because of his quiet and amiable personality. Alliance. An agreement between countries, political parties, etc. to work together. Many countries form alliances to have mutual protection against an enemy nation. Astounding. So surprising that it is difficult to believe. The new sales promotion was an astounding success. Akin. Similar to something. Her headphones were designed as akin to rabbit ears. Assailant. A person who attacks somebody, especially physically, an attacker. Police reported that a 52-year-old assailant punched his wife. Arduous. Involving a lot of effort and energy, especially over a period of time. Although the workouts were arduous, she still went every morning for 1 year. Alter. To become different. To make somebody or something change. After volunteering to help poor people, my view of life has been truly altered. Alternative. A different plan or method, another option. The phone is too expensive, so I want to find a cheaper alternative. Ascertain. To find out the true or correct information about something. It is hard to ascertain if information from the internet is true. Assertive. Expressing opinions strongly and with confidence, so that people take notice. Women need to be assertive in the workplace to make their opinions heard. Alienate. To make somebody less friendly towards you or cause people to avoid you. The content of his new videos are so different that it alienates his followers. Antagonize. To do something to make somebody angry with you. He sometimes antagonizes his neighbors by playing loud music. Acquainted. Familiar with something, having read, seen or experienced it. The students are already acquainted with the topic. Audacity. Behavior that is brave but likely to shock, upset, or offend people. He had the audacity to come 15 minutes late to the meeting. Accompany. To travel or go somewhere with somebody or something. My assistant accompanied me during the whole business trip. Agnostic. Having the belief that it is not possible to know whether God exists or not. Gary is unsure about religion and God, so he is agnostic. Aggravate. To make an illness or a bad situation worse. Pollution can aggravate asthma. Appease. To make somebody calmer or less angry by giving them what they want. The politician managed to appease the journalists by giving them an interview. Annex. To take control of a country, region, etc., especially by force. The Crimean Peninsula was annexed by Russia in 2014. Divulge. To give someone information that is supposed to be secret. Police refused to divulge the identity of the suspect. Instigate. To make something start or happen, usually something official. The company has instigated worker policy reform. Perplex. If something perplexes you, it makes you confused because you do not understand. His sudden decision to leave the company perplexes his co-workers. Forte. A thing that somebody does particularly well. Thinking outside the box is my forte. Destitute. Without money, food and the other things necessary for life. I see a destitute old man looking for food in the dumpster. Stifle. To prevent something from happening. To prevent a feeling from being expressed. Over-controlling parents stifle their children's growth, creativity, and independence. Pliable. Easy to influence or control. Children have pliable minds. Ubiquitous. Seeming to be everywhere or in several places at the same time, very common. Mobile phones are ubiquitous. Frivolous. Silly or funny, especially when such behavior is not suitable. Most adults think playing computer games is frivolous. Polarize. To separate or make people separate into two groups with completely opposite opinions. Discussions about legalizing recreational drugs is often polarizing. Overarching. Very important, because it includes or influences many things. We need to take an overarching look at how we run our elections. Deem. To have a particular opinion about somebody or something. Consider. Some people deem people who are unemployed to be lazy. Pragmatic. Solving problems in a practical and sensible way. We need to use pragmatic solutions for the rising unemployment rates. Perpetuate. To make something such as a bad situation, a belief, etc. continue for a long time. Some government policies perpetuate racial inequity. Contrive. To manage to do something despite difficulties. She contrived to spend a couple of hours studying for the test every night. Convoluted. Extremely complicated and difficult to follow. It takes a skilled engineer to fix such a convoluted piping system. Dissipate. To gradually become or make something become weaker until it disappears. The crowd's anger dissipated after hours of rioting. Imminent. Likely to happen very soon, especially if something unpleasant. Inflation is imminent as the government spends more money. Acquiesce. To accept something without arguing, even if you do not really agree with it. The company acquiesced to the customer's demands and lowered their product price. Foster. To encourage something to develop, encourage, promote. They aim to foster innovation in their company. Fester. A negative feeling becomes worse and more intense over time. A toxic work culture festers at our company. Palatable. Food or drink having a pleasant or acceptable taste. The exotic food that we ordered last night was quite surprisingly palatable. Unprecedented. Something that has never happened, been done or been known before. The whole world was not prepared to face such an unprecedented crisis. Contempt. The feeling that somebody or something is without value and deserves no respect at all. The manager spoke about his lazy workers with contempt. Finesse. Great skill in dealing with people or situations, especially in a light and careful way. The manager dealt with the angry customer with patience and finesse. Coerce. To force somebody to do something by using threats. The boss coerces his staff to work overtime by threatening to fire them. Encapsulate. To express the most important parts of something in a few words. It is very difficult to encapsulate historic events into a single one-hour documentary. Stigmatize. To describe somebody or something unfairly, suggesting that they are bad or do not deserve respect. People with mental illness are often stigmatized by the public. Construe. To interpret the meaning of something in a particular way. Her words could hardly be construed as an apology. Peruse. To read something, especially in a cautious way. A copy of the document is available for you to peruse at your leisure. Condone. To accept bad behavior that is morally wrong. Violence can never be condoned. Latent. Existing, but not yet clear, active or well developed. These athletes have a huge reserve of latent talent. Acrimonious. Mad and full of strong bitter feelings. His parents went through an acrimonious divorce. Masquerade. Behaving in a way that hides the truth or a person's true feelings. He was tired of the masquerade and wanted the truth to come out. Salient. most important or easy to notice. He reviewed the salient points. Embroil. To involve yourself in an argument or a difficult situation. He became embroiled in a dispute with his boss. Languish. To be forced to suffer something unpleasant for a long time. She continues to languish in prison. Aspersions. Critical remarks or judgments. I wouldn't want to cast aspersions on your honesty. Sedulous. Displaying great care and effort in your work. He displays a sedulous attention to detail. Encumber. To make it difficult for somebody to do something. The police operation was encumbered by crowds of reporters. Effusion. The act of flowing out. Conversational effusion isn't always a good quality on a first date. Waffle. To have difficulty make a decision. The politician was accused of waffling on major issues. Intrepid. Very brave, not afraid of danger or difficulties. Pioneers often proved themselves to be intrepid explorers. Mores. The customs that are considered typical of a particular social group. Musicians are often blamed for a steady decline in sexual mores. Disheveled. Very untidy. He looked tired and disheveled. Sumptuous. Looking very impressive. It was a sumptuous meal. Reciprocate. To behave towards somebody in the same way as they behave towards you. They wanted to reciprocate the kindness that had been shown to them. Infallible. Never wrong, never making mistakes. No one is infallible. Dissident. A person who strongly disagrees with and criticizes their government. Dissidents were often imprisoned by the security police. Dispatch. To send somebody or something somewhere, for a special purpose. Troops have been dispatched to the area. Intransigence. Unwillingness to change your behavior or opinions. Negotiations collapsed in the face of managerial intransigence. Pastoral. Related to the countryside. The farm was a pastoral scene. Concede. To admit that something is true. He was forced to concede that there might be difficulties. Manifold. Many, of many different types. The possibilities were manifold. Punitive. Intended as punishment. Punitive action will be taken against the rioters. Nonplussed. Surprised and confused, speechless. Branson seemed a little nonplussed at Ellie's refusal. Salacious. Encouraging sexual desire or containing too much sexual detail. The papers concentrated on some salacious aspects of the case. Behove. Right, or necessary for somebody to do something. It behoves us to study these findings carefully. Vulpine. Like a fox. He showed his vulpine grin. Premise. A statement or an idea that forms the basis for a reasonable line of argument. The argument rests on a false premise. Demise. The end or failure of an institution, an idea, a company, etc. He praised the union's aims but predicted its early demise. Megalomania. A strong feeling that you want to have more and more power. His bad personality is due to megalomania. Asinine. Stupid or silly. Her asinine excuse seemed ridiculous. Surfeit. An amount that is too large. Indigestion can be brought on by a surfeit of fatty food. Reputable. Having a good reputation. The car salesman was a reputable dealer. Oblique. Not expressed or done in a direct way. She made an oblique reference to her ex-boyfriend. Jeopardize. To risk harming or destroying something or somebody. He would never do anything to jeopardize his career. Impudence. Rude behavior. I've had enough of your impudence. Desolate. Empty and without people, making you feel sad or frightened. They looked out on a bleak and desolate landscape. Ballast. Heavy material placed in a ship to make it heavier and keep it steady. The ballast keeps the ship steady. Disperse. To move apart and go away in different directions. The fog began to disperse. Phase. To confuse or shock someone. She wasn't fazed by his comments. Compunction. A guilty feeling about doing something. He lied to his parents without compunction. Complacency. A feeling of being satisfied with yourself or with a situation. Despite signs of an improvement in the economy, there is no room for complacency. Caliber. The quality of something, especially a person's ability. He was impressed by the high caliber of applicants for the job. Entreat. To ask somebody to do something in a serious and often emotional way. Please help me, I entreat you. Dissection. The act of studying something closely. Your enjoyment of a novel can suffer from too much analysis and dissection. Antiquated. Old-fashioned and no longer suitable for modern conditions. The antiquated heating system barely heats the larger rooms. Anguish. Severe physical or mental pain. He groaned in anguish. Effeminate. Looking, behaving or sounding like a woman. He is an effeminate man. Enmity. Feelings of hate towards somebody. Personal enmities have injured relations within the department. Epoch. A period of time in history. The death of the king marked the end of an epoch in the country's history. Intrinsic. Belonging to or part of the real nature of something. These tasks were repetitive, lengthy and lacking any intrinsic value. Quotidian. Ordinary. Typical of what happens every day. Their quotidian existence is tiring. Hazardous. Involving risk or danger, especially to somebody's safety. They endured a hazardous journey through thickening fog. Peregrination. A long, slow journey. The character in the book wandered through strange lands during his peregrination. Attenuate. To make something weaker or less effective. The drug attenuates the effects of the virus. Unravel. To unwind threads that are twisted, woven or knitted. I unraveled the string and wound it into a ball. Behemoth. Something that is very big and powerful. Your dog is a behemoth. Impeccable. Without mistakes or faults. Her written English is impeccable. Jaded. Tired and bored. I felt terribly jaded after working all weekend. Figurative. Different from the usual meaning, in order to create a mental picture. He exploded with rage shows a figurative use of the verb explode. Relic. An object, a tradition, a system, etc. that has survived from the past. The building stands as the last remaining relic of the town's manufacturing industry. Wreak. To do great damage or harm to somebody or something. The country's policies would wreak havoc on the economy. Utopia. A place in which everything is perfect. Utopia does not exist in the real world. Vegetative. Alive but showing no sign of brain activity. The stroke victim is in a vegetative state. Infringe. To break a law or rule. The material can be copied without copyright infringing. Subtlety. Not being obvious in one's actions. It's a thrilling movie even though it lacks subtlety. Epitaph. Words that are written or said about a dead person. His epitaph read, "A just and noble citizen." Grisly. Extremely unpleasant and frightening. It was a grisly murder scene. Libido. Sexual desire. The man worried about his loss of libido. Epitome. A perfect example of something. He's the epitome of a modern man. Topple. To become unsteady and fall down. To make something fall down. The pile of blocks toppled over. Morose. Unhappy, in a bad mood and not talking very much. He just sat there looking morose. Impalpable. That which cannot be felt physically. The mosquito was impalpable as it continued to bite the child. Gratuitous. Done without any reason and often having harmful effects. It was a completely gratuitous insult which her friend apologized for. Opaque. Not clear enough to see through or allow light through. The shower door was opaque. Postmortem. A medical examination of the body of a dead person. They're doing a postmortem on him today. Eclectic. Not following one style or set of ideas. She has very eclectic tastes in music. Delve. To reach inside a bag, container, etc. to search for something. She delved in her purse for a pen. Studious. Spending a lot of time studying or reading. He liked to wear rimmed glasses, which he thought made him look studious. Impel. Feeling as if you are forced to do something. He felt impelled to investigate the matter further. Mannered. Trying to impress people by being formal. His writing style is far too mannered. Peevish. Easily annoyed. Jack was a sickly, peevish old man. Stickler. A person who thinks that a particular type of behavior is very important. Robin is a stickler for punctuality. Adulterate. To make food or drink less pure by adding another substance to it. The water supply had been adulterated with toxic chemicals from the soil. Deplete. To reduce something by a large amount so that there is not enough left. Food and water supplies were severely depleted. Nadir. The worst moment of a particular situation. Company losses reached their nadir in 2008. Prelude. A short piece of music, especially an introduction to a longer piece. This is the prelude to Act 2 of the play. Curtail. To limit something or make it last for a shorter time. Spending on books has been severely curtailed due to the sale of e-books. Tacit. That which is suggested indirectly or understood, rather than said in words. By tacit agreement, the subject was never discussed again. Abstruse. Difficult to understand. The lawyer made an abstruse argument. Placate. To make somebody feel less angry about something. The parent tried to placate the upset child by offering a toy. Iconoclastic. Criticizing popular beliefs, established customs, or ideas. Cult leaders are often iconoclastic. Antithesis. The opposite of something. Love is the antithesis of selfishness. Deference. Behavior that shows that you respect somebody or something. The flags were lowered out of deference to the grieving family. Unwitting. Not aware of what you are doing or of the situation you are involved in. He became an unwitting accomplice in the serious crime. Brazen. Open and without shame, usually about something that shocks people. They showed a brazen disregard for the law. Abjure. To promise publicly that you will give up or reject a belief or a way of behaving. She had to abjure her former beliefs to become a member of the new religion. Abrogate. To officially end a law, an agreement, etc. The government decided to abrogate the outdated law to ensure equality for all. Abstemious. Not allowing yourself to have much food or alcohol. He was an abstemious eater, avoiding all foods that contained sugar or fats. Acumen. The ability to understand and decide things quickly and well. Her acumen in business allowed her to turn the struggling company around. Antebellum. Connected with the years before a war, especially the American Civil War. The antebellum era is a significant period in American history. Auspicious. Showing signs that something is likely to be successful in the future. The auspicious weather forecast predicted clear skies and sunshine for the wedding day. Belie. To give a false impression of somebody or something. His kind and gentle demeanor can belie his true strength and power. Bellicose. Having or showing a desire to argue or fight. The bellicose leader declared war against his neighboring country. Bowdlerize. To remove the parts of a book, play, etc. that you think are likely to shock or offend people. The TV station decided to bowdlerize the movie to make it suitable for family viewing. Chicanery. The use of complicated plans in order to trick people. The politician's chicanery during the election campaign ultimately cost him his seat. Chromosome. One of the very small structures like thin strings in the nuclei of animal and plant cells. The human body has 23 pairs of chromosomes, each containing thousands of genes. Churlish. Rude or very unpleasant. Her churlish behavior was unwelcome at the dinner party. Circumlocution. The use of more words than are necessary. He used circumlocution to avoid giving a direct answer to the question. Circumnavigate. To sail all the way around something, especially all the way around the world. Magellan was the first person to circumnavigate the globe. Deciduous. Of a tree, bush, etc., that loses its leaves every year. The deciduous trees lost their leaves in the fall. Deleterious. Harmful and damaging. Smoking has many deleterious effects on a person's health. Diffident. Not having much confidence in yourself. He was diffident and lacked confidence in his abilities. Enervate. To make somebody feel weak and tired. The long hours of work can enervate even the most energetic person. Enfranchise. To give somebody the right to vote in an election. Women fought for years to be enfranchised and gain the right to vote. Epiphany. A sudden and surprising moment of understanding. She had an epiphany when she realized she had been living her life the wrong way. Equinox. One of the 2 times in the year when day and night are of equal length. The equinox marks the start of spring and fall when day and night are almost equal in length. Euro. The unit of money of some countries of the European Union. He changed his euro to dollars at the bank before traveling to the United States. Evanescent. Disappearing quickly from sight or memory. Talk is evanescent, writing lasts forever. Expurgate. To leave out parts of a piece of writing or a conversation when printing or reporting it. The book editor decided to expurgate the novel to remove all explicit content. Facetious. Trying to appear funny and clever at a time when other people do not think it is appropriate. His facetious comments during the meeting did not help the situation. Fatuous. Stupid, silly, and pointless. The fatuous idea that money buys happiness is simply not true. Feckless. Having a weak character, not behaving in a responsible way. His feckless approach to life led to his downfall. Fiduciary. A person or company that controls other people's money or property. The fiduciary had a legal obligation to act in the best interests of his clients. Filibuster. A long speech made in a parliament in order to delay or prevent a vote. The senator used a filibuster to prevent a vote on the bill. Gamete. A male or female cell that joins with a cell of the opposite sex to form a zygote. Sperm is a type of gamete that combines with an egg to create a zygote. Gauche. Shy or uncomfortable when dealing with people and often saying or doing the wrong thing. His gauche behavior made him the target of ridicule. Gerrymander. To change the size and borders of an area for voting in order to give an unfair advantage to one party in an election. The city had been gerrymandered so that the politician retained control. Hegemony. Especially of countries, the position of being the most powerful and therefore able to control others. The country's hegemony in the region allowed it to exert significant influence. Hemoglobin. A red substance in the blood that carries oxygen and contains iron. Hemoglobin is a protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen to the body's tissues. Homogeneous. Consisting of things or people that are all the same or all of the same type. The homogeneous population shared similar cultural values and beliefs. Hubris. The fact of being too proud. His hubris prevented him from recognizing his mistakes and learning from them. Hypotenuse. The side opposite the right angle of a right-angled triangle. The hypotenuse of a right triangle is always opposite the right angle. Impeach. To charge an important public figure with a serious crime. The opposition party tried to impeach the president for his alleged misconduct. Incognito. In a way that prevents other people from finding out who you are. She went incognito to avoid being recognized by the paparazzi. Incontrovertible. That is true and cannot be disagreed with or denied. The evidence presented in court was incontrovertible and led to a guilty verdict. Inculcate. To cause somebody to learn and remember ideas, moral principles, etc. Parents should try to inculcate good values and behavior in their children. Infrastructure. The basic systems and services that are necessary for a country to run smoothly. The country's infrastructure needs significant investment to support its growing population. Interpolate. To make a remark that interrupts a conversation. Excuse me, he interpolated. Irony. The funny or strange aspect of a situation that is very different from what you expect. The irony is that his mistake will actually improve the team's situation. Jejune. Too simple. The jejune plot of the movie left her feeling disappointed. Kinetic. Involving or producing movement. The kinetic energy of the ball increased as it rolled down the hill. Kowtow. To show somebody in authority too much respect and be too willing to obey them. He decided to kowtow to his boss's demands to keep his job. Laissez-faire. The policy of allowing private businesses to develop without government control. The laissez-faire approach to business allows companies to operate with minimal government intervention. Lexicon. All the words and phrases used in a particular language or subject. The online dictionary has a vast lexicon of words and definitions. Loquacious. Talking a lot. He was a loquacious speaker, often going off on tangents during his presentations. Lugubrious. Sad and serious. The lugubrious music added to the somber mood of the funeral. Metamorphosis. A process in which somebody or something changes completely into something different. The metamorphosis from caterpillar to butterfly is a remarkable transformation. Mitosis. The usual process by which cells divide. During mitosis, a cell divides into two identical daughter cells. Moiety. A half of something. Each moiety of the land was sold to different buyers. Nanotechnology. The branch of technology that deals with structures that are less than 100 nanometers long. Nanotechnology allows us to manipulate materials on a molecular scale. Nihilism. The belief that life has no meaning or purpose. Nihilism can be a depressing philosophy to embrace. Nomenclature. A system of naming things, especially in a branch of science. The nomenclature for this chemical compound is quite complex. Nonsectarian. Not involving or connected with a particular religion or religious group. The school was nonsectarian, welcoming students of all faiths. Notarize. If a document is notarized, it is given legal status by a notary. I need to notarize this document before it can be considered official. Obsequious. Trying too hard to please somebody, especially somebody who is important. The obsequious waiter was always eager to please the customers. Oligarchy. A form of government in which only a small group of people hold all the power. The oligarchy in ancient Greece was made up of the wealthiest citizens. Omnipotent. Having total power, able to do anything. An omnipotent being is one who has unlimited power and control. Orthography. The system of spelling in a language. Orthography refers to the correct spelling and writing of words. Oxidize. To remove one or more electrons from a substance. Iron will oxidize when exposed to air and water. Parable. A short story that teaches a moral or spiritual lesson. The teacher used a parable about the tortoise and the hare to show the importance of perseverance. Paradigm. A typical example or pattern of something. The new discovery changed the scientific paradigm in the field. Parameter. Something that decides or limits the way in which something can be done. The parameter for this experiment is set at a certain temperature range. Pecuniary. Relating to or connected with money. The company was fined for engaging in pecuniary misconduct. Photosynthesis. The process by which green plants turn carbon dioxide and water into food. Plants use photosynthesis to convert sunlight into energy. Plagiarize. To copy another person's ideas, words, or work and pretend that they are your own. The student was caught trying to plagiarize their essay. Plasma. The clear liquid part of blood, in which the blood cells, etc., float. Plasma is also used in medical treatments to help with blood clotting. Polymer. A substance consisting of large molecules that are made from combinations of small simple molecules. Many polymers, such as nylon, are artificial. Precipitous. Very steep, high, and often dangerous. The cliff was so precipitous that it was dangerous to climb. Quasar. A large object like a star, that is far away and that shines very brightly. Quasars emit intense radiation, making them visible across vast distances. Quotidian. Ordinary, typical of what happens every day. Her daily routine was quite quotidian, involving the same tasks every day. Recapitulate. To repeat or give a summary of what has already been said, decided, etc. The professor asked the student to recapitulate the main points of the lecture. Reciprocal. Involving two people or groups who agree to help each other or behave in the same way to each other. She believed in the reciprocal nature of love, that it should be given and received equally. Reparation. The act of giving something to somebody in order to show that you are sorry that you have caused them to suffer. The company made a reparation to its customers for the faulty product. Respiration. The act of breathing. Respiration is the process by which living organisms take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide. Sanguine. Cheerful and confident about the future. Despite the setback, she remained sanguine and optimistic about the future. Soliloquy. A speech in a play, in which a character, who is alone on the stage, speaks his, or her, Thoughts. In his soliloquy, the character revealed his innermost thoughts and feelings. Subjugate. To defeat somebody or something. To gain control over somebody or something. The invading army sought to subjugate the people and take control of the land. Suffragist. A person who campaigns for a group of people who do not have the right to vote in elections. She was a suffragist, who fought for women's right to vote. Supercilious. Behaving towards other people as if you think you are better than them. His supercilious attitude made it difficult for others to work with him. Taut. Stretched tightly. The rope was pulled taut to secure the boat to the dock. Taxonomy. The scientific process of classifying things. The taxonomy of plants and animals is constantly evolving as new species are discovered. Tectonic. Relating to the structure of the Earth's surface. Tectonic plates are large slabs of rock that make up the Earth's surface. Tempestuous. Full of extreme emotions. The stormy weather created a tempestuous sea that was difficult to navigate. Thermodynamics. The science that deals with the relations between heat and other forms of energy. Thermodynamics is the study of energy and its transformations. Totalitarian. In which there is only one political party, which has complete power and control over the people. A totalitarian regime has complete control over all aspects of its citizens' lives. Unctuous. Giving praise, in a way that is not sincere, and that is therefore unpleasant. His unctuous behavior made it clear he was only interested in making a sale. Usurp. To take somebody's position or power without having the right to do this. The military coup attempted to usurp the government and take control of the country. Vacuous. Showing no sign of intelligence or sensitive feelings. Her vacuous expression made it clear she wasn't paying attention. Vehement. Showing very strong feelings, especially anger. She spoke with such vehement passion that it was impossible to ignore her. Vortex. A mass of air, water, etc., that turns round and round very fast and pulls things into its center. The whirlpool created by the water draining from the tub resembled a vortex. Waver. To be or become weak or unsteady. Her determination never wavered. Wrought. Caused something to happen, especially a change. This century wrought major changes in our society. Xenophobia. A strong feeling of dislike or fear of people from other countries. Many immigrants face xenophobia when they try to integrate into a new society. Yearn. To want something very much, especially when it is very difficult to get. She yearned for children of her own. Ziggurat. A tower with steps going up the sides, sometimes with a temple at the top. The ancient ziggurat was a towering pyramid-shaped structure used for religious ceremonies. Abate. To become less intense or severe. To make something less intense or severe. the hurricane's intensity began to abate as it moved further inland. Abdicate. To give up the position of being king, queen, or emperor. The king was forced to abdicate his throne. Aberration. A way of behaving that is not usual, and that may be unacceptable. The suspect's behavior was an aberration in an otherwise peaceful neighborhood. Abstain. To decide not to do or have something. During religious holidays, many people choose to abstain from certain foods or activities. Adversity. A difficult or unpleasant situation. Despite facing adversity, the team was able to win the championship. Aesthetic. Connected with beauty and art and the understanding of beautiful things. The interior designer chose an aesthetic that was modern and minimalist. Amicable. Done or achieved in a polite or friendly way and without arguing. After their divorce, the couple managed to maintain an amicable relationship. Anachronistic. Used to describe an idea that does not belong to the present. The antique watch seemed anachronistic among modern gadgets on the shelves. Arid. Having little or no rain, very dry. The desert is known for its arid climate and sparse vegetation. Asylum. Protection that a government gives to people who have left their own country. The refugees were granted asylum in the neighboring country. Benevolent. Kind, helpful and generous. The billionaire philanthropist was known for his benevolent deeds. Bias. A strong feeling in favor of or against one group of people. The reporter's bias was evident in his coverage of the political campaign. Boisterous. Noisy and full of life and energy. The children were being boisterous at the birthday party. Brazen. Open and without shame, usually about something that shocks people. The politicians' brazen lies were exposed by the media. Brusque. Using very few words and sounding rude. The manager's brusque tone with the employees caused tension in the office. Camaraderie. A feeling of trust among people who work or spend a lot of time together. The team's camaraderie was evident in their seamless collaboration. Canny. Showing good judgment, especially in business or politics. The wise investor was always canny with his money. Capacious. Having a lot of space to put things in. The new house had a capacious kitchen with plenty of counter space. Capitulate. To agree to do something that you have been refusing to do for a long time. After a long battle, the army finally had to capitulate and surrender. Clairvoyant. The power to see future events or to communicate with the dead. The clairvoyant woman predicted that the missing person would be found safe. Collaborate. To work together with somebody in order to produce or achieve something. The scientists had to collaborate on the research project. Compassion. A strong feeling of sympathy for people or animals who are suffering. The doctor's compassion and care for his patients was evident in his bedside manner. Compromise. An agreement where each side gives up some of the things they want. The siblings compromised and shared the toy. Condescending. Behaving as though you are more important than other people. The manager's condescending attitude towards his employees was unacceptable. Conditional. Depending on something. The team's success is conditional on everyone working together effectively. Conformist. A person who thinks in the same way as most other people. The student was a conformist who followed all of the school's rules. Conundrum. A confusing problem or question that is very difficult to solve. The detective was stumped by the conundrum presented by the case. Convergence. The process of moving together from different directions and meeting. The convergence of the two highways caused a lot of traffic. Deleterious. Harmful and damaging. The toxic chemicals in the air were deleterious to the health of the residents. Demagogue. A political leader who tries to win support through emotions over reason. The charismatic leader was accused of being a demagogue. Diligent. Showing care and effort in your work or duties. The diligent student always completed her assignments on time. Discredit. To make people stop respecting somebody or something. The scandal discredited the politician and ruined his career. Disdain. The feeling that something is not good enough to deserve your respect. The socialite looked down on anyone she considered beneath her with disdain. Divergent. Developing or moving in different directions, becoming less similar. The opinions of the two experts were divergent on the issue. Empathy. The ability to understand another person's feelings or experience. The therapist's empathy and understanding helped her patients feel more comfortable. Emulate. To try to do something as well as somebody else. The athlete tried to emulate his favorite Olympic champion. Enervating. Something that causes exhaustion, fatigue, or weakness. The illness was enervating and left the patient feeling weak and exhausted. Ephemeral. Lasting or used for only a short period of time. The beauty of the sunset was ephemeral, lasting only a few minutes. Evanescent. Disappearing quickly from sight or memory. The memory of his childhood home was evanescent and faded over time. Exemplary. Providing a good example for people to copy. The teacher held up the top student's exemplary work. Extenuating. Showing reasons why a wrong act should be judged less seriously. The extenuating circumstances were taken into account during the sentencing. Florid. Having too much decoration or detail. The florid language of the novel was not to everyone's taste. Forbearance. The quality of being kind towards other people. The woman showed great forbearance in dealing with the noisy neighbors. Fortitude. Courage shown by somebody who is suffering great pain. The soldier's fortitude in battle earned him a Medal of Honor. Fortuitous. Happening by chance, especially a lucky chance that brings a good result. The coincidence of meeting his childhood friend was fortuitous. Foster. To encourage something to develop. The parents tried to foster a loving environment for the children. Fraught. Filled with something unpleasant. The discussion was fraught with tension as both sides had strongly held beliefs. Frugal. Using only as much money or food as is necessary. The frugal shopper always looked for deals and discounts. Hackneyed. Used too often and therefore boring. The author's use of clichés made the writing seem hackneyed. Haughty. Behaving like you are better than other people. The CEO's haughty attitude made him unpopular with his employees. Hedonist. A person who believes that pleasure is the most important thing in life. The hedonist only cared about pleasure. Hypothesis. An explanation based on a few known facts, but that has not yet been proved. The scientists tested their hypothesis by conducting an experiment. Impetuous. Acting or done quickly and without thinking carefully about the results. His impetuous decision led to a lot of trouble. Imputation. A statement in which you say that somebody is responsible for something. He denied the imputation that he had stolen the money. Inconsequential. Not important or worth considering. The mistake was inconsequential and did not affect the overall result. Inevitable. That you cannot avoid or prevent. Death is inevitable, but we can still make the most of our time here. Intrepid. Very brave, not afraid of danger or difficulties. The intrepid explorer went into the uncharted territory. Intuitive. Obtained by using your feelings rather than by considering the facts. She had an intuitive feeling that something was wrong. Jubilation. A feeling of great happiness because of a success. The team's victory brought about great jubilation among the fans. Lobbyist. A person whose job involves trying to influence politicians or the government. The lobbyist worked hard to convince politicians to support their cause. Longevity. Long life, lasting a long time. Regular exercise and a healthy diet can increase longevity. Mundane. Not interesting or exciting. The work at the office was mundane and repetitive. Nonchalant. Behaving in a calm and relaxed way. He acted nonchalant about the whole situation, but inside he was worried. Opulent. Made or decorated using expensive materials. The opulent palace was adorned with gold and jewels. Orator. A person who makes formal speeches in public or is good at public speaking. The orator gave a powerful speech that inspired the audience. Ostentatious. Showing your wealth or status in a way that is intended to impress people. She wore an ostentatious outfit that drew attention to herself. Parched. Very dry, especially because the weather is hot. After walking in the desert, he was parched and desperately needed water. Perfidious. That which cannot be trusted. The perfidious friend betrayed her trust and shared her secrets with others. Pragmatic. Solving problems in a practical and sensible way. The pragmatic approach was to tackle the problem one step at a time. Precocious. Having developed particular abilities at a much younger age than usual. The precocious child was already reading books meant for adults. Pretentious. Trying to appear important or intelligent in order to impress other people. The pretentious artist claimed that their work was worth millions. Procrastinate. To delay doing something that you should do. He always procrastinated and left things until the last minute. Prosaic. Ordinary and not showing any imagination. The writing style was prosaic and lacked imagination. Prosperity. The state of being successful, especially in making money. The country's prosperity was due to a booming economy. Provocative. Intended to make people angry or upset. The provocative outfit caused a lot of controversy and criticism. Prudent. Sensible and careful when you make judgments and decisions. It's always prudent to save money for emergencies. Querulous. Complaining, showing that you are annoyed. She had a querulous attitude and was never satisfied with anything. Rancorous. Having or showing feelings of hate and a desire to hurt other people. The rancorous feud between the two families had been going on for years. Reclusive. Living alone and avoiding other people. The reclusive writer rarely left their home and hardly ever interacted with others. Reconciliation. An end to a disagreement or conflict with somebody. The reconciliation between the two former enemies was a cause for celebration. Renovation. The act or process of repairing and painting an old building. The renovation of the old building gave it new life and purpose. Restrained. To show calm control rather than emotion. He showed restrained anger when his classmate teased him. Reverence. A feeling of admiring and respecting somebody or something very much. The teacher was held in great reverence by all of her students. Sagacity. Good judgment and understanding. The sagacity of the wise old man was evident in his advice. Scrutinize. To look at or examine somebody or something carefully. She scrutinized every detail of the contract before signing it. Spontaneous. Not planned but done because you suddenly want to do it. The spontaneous trip to the beach was a lot of fun. Spurious. False, although seeming to be real or true. His spurious claim was quickly debunked by the experts. Submissive. Too willing to accept somebody else's authority. The submissive employee always did what was asked of them without question. Substantiate. To provide information or evidence to prove that something is true. The evidence helped to substantiate the claims made by the witness. Subtle. Not very obvious or easy to notice. The subtle hints in her speech suggested that she was not happy with the situation. Superficial. Not serious or important and not having any depth of understanding or feeling. The criticism was superficial and did not really matter. Superfluous. Unnecessary or more than you need or want. The addition of unnecessary details made the report superfluous and difficult to read. Surreptitious. Done secretly or quickly, in the hope that other people will not notice. The surreptitious spy was able to gather valuable information. Tactful. Careful not to say or do anything that will annoy or upset other people. He was tactful in his approach to the sensitive topic and did not offend anyone. Tenacious. Very determined. The tenacious athlete never gave up and always pushed himself to his limits. Transient. Continuing for only a short time. The transient nature of life made him appreciate every moment. Venerable. Deserving of respect because a person is old, important, or wise. The venerable professor was respected by all of her colleagues. Vicissitude. A change or variation, the quality of being changeable. The vicissitudes of life can be challenging. Vindicate. To prove that something is true or that you were right to do something. The evidence presented was enough to vindicate him of the crime. Wary. Careful when dealing with somebody because you think there may be danger. She was wary of strangers and always kept her guard up.